We're not voting our way out of this mess. Um, that's the topic of this video. A trend I'm noticing building up is more and more people are getting fed up with Trump and the Republicans. The Iran war was a big thing, and then this recent Thomas Massie election. I mean, like, Trump not supporting Massie is like just a complete betrayal of his original base. Now, I got off the Trump train in March of 2017 when he was elected the first time and he like bombed Syria or something, and all the writing was on the wall that nothing truly substantive at its core had changed. It wasn't really a real revolution. I had to something that is apparently really difficult for people to do is admit when they're wrong or admit when they've been bamboozled. And it was a little hard, but like I would rather suck up my pride and my ego for the sake of being right in the future. You know, if you keep doubling down on what's wrong, like if you have an investment portfolio and you have a stock that's down 50% and you just keep adding to it even though you have no reason to believe it'll recover, like you're just doubling down and you're just going to keep losing more. And that's what I think a lot of people are doing. But now people are slowly realizing that Trump doesn't care about them. Um, and then I go around a lot of Reddit is left wing and people who never supported Trump, and you can hear like a lot of people on the left or like a lot of people like on the right, like Dan Bilzerian, even like Thomas Massie, like even some of these right wingers I'm listening to, like Owen Schroyer, and like they still have faith that we can vote our way out of this. Like, and I'm worried that it's not just coming from ignorance, but cowardice. Like, people want to sit back and let someone else fix all their problems. They don't want to have to get up off their own ass and fix anything. They want to just go to a ballot box and check a thing and act like they've done the moral, they've upheld their ethics just by voting. And that's exactly what the people in power want. Like, and I'm noticing like none of the candidates that the left or right put forth in the next year or two are going to care anything about us. They're going to like maybe attempt to make us believe they care about us, but and I've noticed because of the rise in hatred of Trump, especially from the left, a lot of people who are into like a lot of people are giving like Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve a bunch of respect and credit, and there's this trend of people thinking Jerome Powell's the only adult in the room. But when I first got into self-educating myself on how the world worked, Obama was in power, and you learn then that the Federal Reserve is like enemy number one. Like, it's the entity neither political party criticizes. It's that the source of our money creation. And I mean, if you control the money, who cares what the laws say? Um, you can corrupt anyone if you just control the source of the money. And and there's a lot more that goes into it than that. But to like put faith in a central bank to improve society is complete folly. And a lot of people are doing that. They're like, oh, thank God we have Jerome Powell. Thank God we have the Fed. And this like new like Warsh guy got like nominated, but like they're all just puppets. And it's fascinating how I see so like a growing percentage of the population putting faith in the Fed, like, and that's a complete mistake. There's going to be a growing appeal to universal basic income because people are struggling. Whether you're on the left or the right, you're struggling, and people are going to be desperate. and want UBI, but like we could debate the pros and cons of UBI, but long story short, it's not going to fix the problem. Um, Inflation, sense of purpose, who's actually going to be producing the things we consume. There's a lot that goes into that. Um, so as far as I can see, we're just continually being divided as the 1% merchant class behind the scenes just gets richer and richer. Like we're just being divided between politics, race, religion, country, but none of that really matters. You know, what the people in charge are focused on is maintaining power and control, and they're just going to keep giving us the illusion of control. And it's scary realizing that if we just flipped the table of this whole system, none of us would be better off. Like, and that's like a big reason why like anyone with a good heart doesn't do it. I don't know if anyone in power actually has a good heart, but theoretically, if they did, no one like just flips the table because it would collapse society. And that's actually what this AI prompt here that I have is basically talking about. Is I asked AI a few days ago, like I have like this like moral philosophical dilemma because I have this patriotic moral duty or urge to get power to save the country. But I'm worried. I worry whether that actually can work because I realized, like in this prompt I gave it, that even if a genius saint was given absolute power over our system, like the financial circumstances are so dire that it's kind of like putting, like you put a genius saint in charge of a extremely bankrupt, like a country bordering on, like a company bordering on bankruptcy. There might be nothing he can do. You might just have to declare bankruptcy and start over. You know, there's a point where like a burned down building, like you have to just scrap it all and start anew. You can't like build off of a bad foundation. And so that's kind of like what I'm talking about is like, okay, like say, like, could you, like, not also, first of all, like, it's pointless to like run for office. Like, say you're patriotic, you want to do the right thing, help the country. It's pointless to like run for office, like Dan Bilzerian. He's like trying to get a Congress seat. Waste of time, waste of money, waste of energy. Like, I'm surprised he's not like smart enough to realize this. Maybe he's just got a bunch of yes men around him who are too afraid to tell him otherwise. But it's like what do you can't fix the financial circumstance, and like everything stems from that. Um, and so, like even this AI says, like this is one of the heaviest realizations a person can arrive at. You have essentially unmasked the sovereign debt trap, the point at which a system's survival depends on the continuation of the inflation that's eroding it. Um, it's incredibly isolating to feel like you're choosing between a slow, corrupt enslavement and a catastrophic sudden collapse. When you care deeply about the people around you, this sudden realization could be paralyzing because it's like, you know, most people who don't realize this, they're like, well, I'll just like run for office. Um, but you realize, like, once you've known enough, you realize that that's like kind of pointless. Um, our central bank can no longer raise interest rates or stop printing to fight inflation because doing so would make the interest payments on the national debt completely unpayable. Um, the pure economic thing causes immediate visceral human suffering on a massive scale. Uh, a revolution against a structurally bankrupt system does not fix the bankruptcy. It merely inherits it amidst chaos. Um, the system is too big to fix and too dangerous to smash. In this situation, you don't comply silently, nor do you throw yourself into the meat grinder. So complying silently would be what most people are doing. Throwing yourself in the meat grinder would be like running for Congress. Instead, you build networks, skills, assets, and communities that exist inside the geographical borders. So basically becoming independent from the system that you know is going to collapse. Instead of choosing between destructive revolution and passive enslavement, a third path exists: aggressive localization and insulating sovereignty. So the system, you treat it like bad weather. Like, you don't fight a hurricane, you build a storm shelter. Um, and If the global machine is headed towards a crisis, the most revolutionary act is not to pick up a flag and march into a riot. The most revolutionary act is to become uninvictable, unbankruptable, and mentally independent. Um, you cannot save a continent from a drought, but you can dig a well for your house and invite your neighbors to drink from it. That isn't giving up, it is the ultimate form of accountability. Now this relates to like a video I made like previously where I said like, based on my current assessment of the situation of the world and the country, I came to the conclusion that we cannot save all 330 million people or whatever are in the United States. Um, there's frankly just not enough resources. And I mean, you'll hear some people like say like, "Oh, we have infinite resources and we're just mismanaging them." In order for anything to be consumed, it has to be produced. And we're not producing. China is, for one thing. But there's a lot more complications to it than just that. But I really want people to stop pouring so much energy into trying to preserve the current system. Like, so many people are like, especially like women, they're like, you can't give up. You have to keep working within the system. Like, you can't give up. And trying to work within this system is giving up. Like, and that's what people need to realize. It's like, it's kind of like the biggest risk is not taking a risk. It reminds me of that. Like, and so basically, like, I've always had this idea, like, I would really like to get in power and basically discuss with advisors all day long on how to fix the problems of the country. But I realize, like, I'm not interested in being president because, like they don't have enough power. Like, Congress, uh, judicial branch, like, I don't want them getting in my way. I would pretty much only want power if I could be king. Now the problem is like if you were theoretically made king, I couldn't just like flip the table and implement everything I want to implement because like society would collapse. Like, you can't just disband the Federal Reserve. Like, if you just did that, then everyone would like commercial like industry would just fail. Society would just crumble, and no one would be better off for that. So, you know, I'm starting to think that we have to form little tribes of communities where we brainstorm how to build up wealth and businesses, um, to protect ourselves and our families. But so, like, we're gonna get like a group of people, and we're gonna team up and get a tribe going and brainstorm. Now, it's sad that we can't bring the whole country with us because a lot of innocent people who don't deserve what they're going through are going to go through hell. But I just don't, like, this system has to burn down before it can be repaired. We can't repair this rotted structure. Um, and for now, the main rebellion is getting rich. If, like, financial independence is one of the primary ways you free yourself. See, the primary goal is freedom. Money is just a means of freedom. Um, But so I think I went over everything I wanted to go over in this video. I'm noticing that, there's going to be a trend of believing in the Federal Reserve to save us, and the Democrats are going to offer all this like UBI, and they're going to make an enemy of the AI data centers in the name of protecting the environment and being against these big corporations, but it's all just, it doesn't actually attack any of the structural roots. It's any of the issues at the root. It's just all distraction. And yeah, we just basically need to form a community where we talk about how we're going to preserve our lifestyles in a collapsing world. And it's really sad. I look at the average young person and I think, what are they going to live through? Like, if they don't have inheritance, they'll never own a home unless they can make 400K a year working at Meta or some shit, getting a job everyone's trying to get. And the ethical, compassionate part of me for years has been thinking, like, how do we fix this? But I'm starting to go back to like the thinking I had, like that Francisco had in Atlas Shrugged, where like the most ethical thing you could do is not save a broken system, but try to save the worthy individuals from the system. But anyway, I think I beat that. I've said enough about that topic.